Hello everyone, welcome to another video in our Python programming series. In this video, we will learn what are variables in Python, rules of naming variables in Python, and multi-word variables names in Python. So starting with what are variables in Python. Variables in Python are containers for storing data values. Python has no command for declaring a variable. A variable is created the moment you assign a value to it. A variable is a name given to a memory location. So here, let's say we have a variable called y with a value 55. And we also have here a variable called x with a value, let's say 4 this time. So each time we are using a string, we have to include a quote. So here we have a variable as x and with a value as 4. In Python, variables do not need to be declared with any particular type. It is automatic. So we have here y as a variable with 55 as a value and x as a variable with 4 as a value. Without we declaring a type, we can go ahead and check the data type with the use of the type function. So to check the data type, we will simply type, let's say print in parentheses type, and in another parenthesis we say y. To see the data type of y, we can go ahead and run this. Okay, our print is not defined. This is meant to be print, so we are lacking right there. So this print, and we see that our data type for y is int. Why? Because 55 is a whole number, so it's int. We can go ahead and as well check the data type of x by saying print in parentheses, we'll say type in parentheses type of x, and we go ahead to run this, and we see that the data type for x is string. That's a text data type. Python also allows you to assign values to multiple variables in one line. These variables can have values of multiple data type. Suppose we have 3 variables, let's say A, B, and C, and then let's assign values to them. Let's say in A, I want to store, say 25 as an integer. In B, I have a string value as, let's say, Python. So I'll put a quote and I will say Python. Okay. And my C has a float value as 15.7. Okay. Let's go ahead and run this. We can go ahead and check to print them one by one. I'll say print out A and I run. See that A here as a variable is holding 25. Can say print out B, and B has Python as a value. Then we can go ahead and say print out C, and C here is holding 15.7 as a value, which is a float data type. You can as well go ahead to check the data types if you want. Let's say I wish to check the data type of C. It will give me a float data type. I can say type of C and it gives me float. So C here, which is 15.7, is a float data type. Also, we can as well assign one value to different variables. Let's say, suppose I want to assign the same value to 3 different variables. I could say x equals to y equals to z equals to 50. And we want to confirm that each of these variables is holding the value 50. We can go ahead and print out x. Okay, let's run this first. We can go ahead now and print out x. X will give us 50. Go ahead and print out y. Y gives us as well 50. And we can go ahead and print out z. And z gives us as well 50. So this is how we can assign a value to different variable. Another way you can do this, you can as well write it this way. You can say, okay, in bracket x, y, and z is equals to the value 10, 10, and 10. That means we are having the same value. So I'll run this, and then I want to know the value for x. I'll go ahead and say x. I want to know the value for y. I'll go ahead and say y. And then the value for x, z. I'll go ahead and say z. And we see that x is having 10, y is having 10, and z is having 10 as well. So this is how we can assign the same value to different variables in a single line. Moving ahead, let's see the rules for naming Python variables. I'll go ahead and include a comment here as rules for naming Python variables. And here we have 4 good rules that must be observed. So we will be starting with rule number 1. And rule number 1, let me bold this. Rule number 1 states that a variable name must start with a letter or an underscore character. So let's look at this rule number 1. Let's say we have a variable as, let's say name. Here we have Joy. And our rule says that a variable must start with a letter or an underscore. So I can go ahead and print out this. I'll say my name and run this. And you see that this is accepted because it's starting with a letter, and then it has printed out my name as Joy. I can go ahead and say, it said we can start with an underscore. So I will start now with an underscore, and I say 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3 is having, let's say, 67 as a variable, and I say print out underscore 1, 2, 3, and I run this, and it gives me 67. So this obeys the rule number 1, that it must start with a letter or an underscore. Alright, so in rule number 2, a variable name cannot start with a number. So let's say, for example, I want to assign a variable and I say 2, and then I have age, and I said my age is 45. You can go ahead and run this, and it will give me error. Why? Because these have already disobeyed the rule number 2. So let's try this out, and it gives us error. So the best way we can write this is to say age and then a 2. That means a number can always come after the alphabet or within the alphabet. So I'll go ahead and run this. Age 2 is equals to 45, and I will say print out age 2, and I'll run this and it will give me 45. So we don't name our variable starting with a number. Okay, and we can as well write this way. Let's say 2 equals to 47, and then we say print out age. Alright, and we run. We see that it returns 47 and not 45. So a number can always fall in between the alphabet or at the end of the alphabet, but it cannot start with a number. Rule number 3. And rule number 3 states that a variable name can only contain alphanumeric characters and underscore. So let's go ahead to see how this rule is obeyed. Let's say we have a special character as at city is equals to, in this case we have Lagos, and we try to run this. This will give us an error. Why? Because we have disobeyed the rule. The rule states that a variable name can only contain alphanumeric character and an underscore, and not a special character like at or let's say dollar. Okay, let's try this again. Let's say this dollar sign and a dog as a variable. Then we say puppy. Okay, and then we run this. This will give us an error as well. Why? Because we are having a special character as this dollar sign and as this at. So to obey this rule, we will quickly say, let's say my name and underscore name, and this time we have my name at John. Okay, and then we said print out my name, and this will give us John. Why? Because this should have an equal sign, so this will print out John. Why? Because my name is having an underscore and not a special character. Okay, so we have here John. What if we say my name and a special character as this equals to, let's say happy. Let's see. This still gives us error. Okay, so it must be alphanumeric. See the rule. The rule say a variable name can only contain alphanumeric character and underscore. So all the special characters as at dollar sign, whatever, cannot be used as in naming a variable or for a variable. So the last rule that we will be discussing is rule number 4. In rule number 4, we say variable names are case sensitive. So we have age and year age and year age. So, and these are all different variables. Let's see how this can be practicalized. So let's say the first age, which is in capital letters, is equals to, my age is equals to 22. And then I want to print out my age. I'll go ahead and say age, and it returns 22 for me. Then next, we have age again, only the first letter in caps, So here I'll say my age is 25, and then I want to print out my age, and I have here 25. Okay, and then I have another age in lower cases as 15, and I want to print out my age, and I said I want to print out my age. Let me run this, and then look at this. I have age in capital letters. I have age that have just A in capital letter, and I have age that has all in lower letters. So yet, if I want to print out this age in capital letters, and I say age, and I say print out age, see what it will give me. Instead of giving me this one in lowercase, it gives me this one. Gives me this one. Why? Because this one is in lowercase. Or what if I say, okay, I'm spelling all in lowercase, and I say print out my age? You see that it gives me 15. So that is why we say variable names are case sensitive. Very, very case sensitive. So if you make any mistake in your spellings, it will give you another variable. Okay, check out this last example. Let's say, okay, and I say print out age. It gives me 12 and not any of other ones. Okay, so that is why we say variables are case sensitive. Okay, moving ahead, let's talk about multiple words variable names in Python. Okay, so variable names with more than one word can be somehow difficult to read. There are several techniques to write multi-word variables to make them more readable. And here are some of the techniques that can be used. We have number one, the camelCase, and we have the Pascal case, and we also have the snake case. But let's take this one at a time. So let's start with camelCase. I've already given a comment as camelCase. So in camelCase, each word except the first starts with a capital letter. Yes, you heard me right. Each word except the first starts with a capital letter. So suppose I write my name. These are two words, right? My and name as a variable is equals to, let's say, Adam. Okay, so in this variable my name, you see that the first word my, M, is in small letter, while the second word, which is name, N, is in capital letter. So this absolutely obey the camelCase naming technique. Okay, so I can go ahead and say print out my name, and I'll run this, and it gives me Adam. Okay, I can give another example as city name. Let's say city name, and my city name presently is Lagos. Okay, so this is my city name, and you see that this also obeys the camelCase technique, which state that the first word letter will start with lowercase and the second one in uppercase. So I'll go ahead and run this, and then I'll say, okay, print out city name for me, and I'll run this, and it gives me Lagos. Alright, let's now move to the second category, which is the Pascal case. So I'll go ahead and type, so I'll say Pascal case. I'll go ahead and change this to caps, and I have Pascal Case. So in Pascal Case, each word starts with a capital letter. So suppose I assign a variable as house address, and my house address is Magodo Phase 1. See what happened here? Here, both words house and address starts with a capital letter. You can see here that the house H is capital letter and the address A is in capital letter, and this absolutely obeys the Pascal case technique. So okay, print house address and it gives me Magodo Phase 1. I can as well use this city name. You see that in this case, I have city in capital and name in capital. Okay, so here I will say my city name is below. Okay, and I run this, then I'll say print out and it will return Uyo for me. Why? Because this city name here that has Calabar is different from this one. This one is having city starting with C in capital, and this one is having city C starting with C in small letter. Okay, remember we said variable names are case sensitive. So this is an example of a case sensitive, right? So let's move ahead. We can keep on giving ourselves more examples. Another good example that we can use is my age. My age and M is starting with capital letter and H is starting with capital letter, and then I said my age is 66. I can go ahead and print out my age and it will return 66. Alright, so the third way to write multi-word variables is known as snake case. So I will give a comment here as snake case. Okay, so here each word is separated by an underscore character. So for example, if I write city name, I will run this and then go ahead and say print out my city name, and it gives me Abuja. Another good example could be my age. I'm separating it with an underscore, and here I have 35 years, and then I go ahead and run this and then I say print out my age, and it gives me 35. We can as well have multiple underscore in our variables. For example, let's say we have my city name, this up to underscore right is equals to New York. So I'll go ahead and run this and then I say print out, and this will return New York for me. So you see that here we have up to 2 underscore, so we can have multiple underscore in our naming when it comes to snake case. Another important thing that we should note is that in variables, reserved keyword cannot be used as variables. So we have lots of reserved keywords. To check our reserved keywords, you come to your browser. I will type reserved keyword in Python, and I'll go ahead and check this out. So let's see the list of keywords that are reserved in Python. So we have example, none, we have through, we have break, and we have the rest. Let's take an example of this break and class. Let's take an example of it. So we said that reserved words cannot be used as variables, and we've already checked the reserved words, and I said to check it, you just type reserved keywords in Python on your Google search and you'll see the list. Now, one thing that you can do is, since reserved words are not used for use as variables, addition of an underscore will permit you to make use of such words. For example, we can't use break because break is a reserved word in Python. See, it's already highlighted, and we can't use this. For example, if I say break and I have Python in break and I want to print this out, it will give me error because break is one of the keywords. Okay, so this gives me error because break is one of the keywords. So if I want to use this, I will attach an underscore to it, and break can be used as my variable. I can go ahead and print out break as a variable, and it gives me Python. So all the reserved words can be used, but with addition of an underscore. If not, it will give you same error here. Okay, so we also saw in our list, we also saw class. That means class cannot be used as a variable. We have s, we have a lot of them return, but all these can be used with the addition of an underscore. So to use class, see, class is already highlighted, telling us that this cannot be used. So for me to use this, I can use an underscore on it, and my class is basic 5. Let's see, basic 5. And I can go ahead and print out my class now, and it will give me basic 5. Alright, so with this, we've come to the end of this section, and we've been able to cover what are variables in Python. We've tried to have a detailed understanding of what variable is in Python with all these examples, and we move ahead to rules of naming variables in Python, and we have rule 1 that states that a variable name must start with a letter or an underscore character, and these are examples of variables that start with letters or an underscore. Move further to rule 2, and we said rule 2, a variable name cannot start with a number, and here we have examples of variable that start with number, and it all gives us error. And then we were able to rectify this by putting the numbers in between and at the end. We also looked at rule 3 that states that a variable name can only contain alphanumeric character and underscore. And here we were able to make use of other special characters like at, $sign, and we saw that it all gives us error. We also included it in the middle, and it still gives us error. Then rule 4, we said variable names are case sensitive. We were able to examine this using the different ways of writing age. And then we moved ahead to multi-words variable names in Python. And here we have different techniques such as camelCase, Pascal Case, snake case. And also we've been able to highlight that reserved keywords cannot be used as variables in Python. And we say to know your reserved keywords, just type on your Google reserved keywords in Python or your research engine reserve keywords in Python, and it will give you a list of all the keywords that you need to know in Python. And then we took a look at two of them, which is break. We saw that we can use break for as a variable in Python, that the only way we can use them is with the addition of an underscore, which we had here, underscore break, and it gives us Python. And we also have class as one of the examples. Thanks so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel so you can always get notification each time we upload a new video. And also please give us a thumbs up. Bye bye. Thank you.